I think strategy games make you feel smart, I think, above everything else. They make you feel clever. Also like that sense of being like a mastermind. I thought through every possible outcome. If I take that debuff and I put it on him, it combos with his ability. I can proc this passive that will combo on this, and you build all these like layers upon layers and then feel like a genius or a fool depending on how it plays out.
Well, I mean, part of it, I think, is heritage. It goes back to miniatures. You know, it goes back to play-by-mail games. I mean, they're the really early parts of what made the game's business. Really, it's about using your brain to make tactical decisions and sort of out-clevering the designer or whatever the situation is. And that same payoff of fun for you using your brain and thinking has continued to be entertaining.
I think one of the main things about turn-based tactical games that have helped them to flourish and last long over the years as a genre is that they put player choice front and center. They give players interesting situations, interesting tools, and the time necessary for players to think through and decide the proper course of action.
You can't play another game that has that time pressure and still feel like at the end, I got to think through all the possibilities. I'm the genius. I thought through every way this could work out, and then it went exactly as I wanted it to. It serves a need that no other game can fulfill.
I have vivid memories of playing Wasteland 1 on my Apple II. Very fond memories that I still have my box set at home, my original one. And for Wasteland 2, I was a backer before I joined inXile. This type of game is something I love. This franchise is something that I care deeply about. For me, joining Wasteland 3, the important thing is that I really wanted to deliver on player expectations. I think if you distill it down, what people love about Wasteland is its tone, its mood. They love the choices, and they love the reactivity and the way that the world really reflects what you do as a player. And delivering on those core elements of Wasteland is something which I try to focus as many of my decisions around as possible.
Game design is about friction. There's always friction. So there's the, how much code are we going to reuse from the last one versus create new code? Even getting the same features to work and then adding on other features is generally ends up being pretty much of a rework. In many cases, it felt like we were making routines do exactly what they had done before, right? But they needed a little bit of a twist. To get those better visuals, we needed to do things a different way. They needed to maybe have perhaps a different memory footprint or a different way that they were streamed in. Everything's all tied to each other, and so you can never make all your decisions in a vacuum. It's sort of everything affects everything. So development's hard.
When you're building any series, it's really about, like, you look at the previous game and you say what works and what didn't, and that second part's really important. Just because your previous game was successful doesn't mean that there wasn't like a superfluous, like, why did we let you customize your pet? You know, did that really make the game more fun? Why did we have 75 kinds of shoes? Do you even need a shoe slot? Because as you add new features, you also need to, I think, consolidate and condense and potentially lose features that weren't adding value. It's kind of like it's a sauce. You like reduce it down to its finest elements, and then all that extra water that you didn't need just kind of evaporates off, and then you get like this, and that's when you get something really like dense and tasty.
So in Wasteland 2, you had your party of 6 or more if you had followers, and you could have a party of 10 that you came onto. And it would just ping pong back and forth as this person moved, then that person moved, then this person moved, then that person moved.
My medic's over here, my sniper's over here. I would like them to move together, heal, and then I want my sniper to move back and then take a shot. What seems like a pretty basic thing takes, 1, 2, 3 turns to pull off, and it's protracted over, a minute and a half. So it doesn't feel punchy, and it also doesn't respect your choices as much.
Whenever turn-based games put too much emphasis on the AI's turn, it makes your mind wander, it draws players out of the experience. We really wanted to make sure that the enemies were moving efficiently, and then we get the game back as fast as possible to your turn as a player.
Wasteland 3 is definitely punchier and more responsive than it's ever been.
We've gone to a turn-based system where it's the player's turn and he can move all of his rangers in whichever way he wants to. And that is to allow for more intricate tactics between multiple characters.
I'm gonna have this guy shoot that sniper and then throw a smoke grenade. Then I'm gonna have this guy run into the smoke grenade and then start setting up turrets. And that can all happen in the span of a couple of seconds. I think it steers towards trying to make you feel clever and having that moment where all your choices really paid off in a big way.
The most critical thing with game making is you got to get to the iteration part as soon as possible. That's all that matters.
Definitely in inXile, we put a lot of emphasis on iteration and finding the fun as early as humanly possible. And to that end, we definitely try to not over-design on paper. You really have to fight that urge and get people just worrying about the user experience.
That's a challenge. That is a really big challenge. We're working on a particular level or a particular asset, and we spend all of this time honing that particular aspect of the game. And what often gets lost, if you're not careful, is the player's experience. So we are hungry for information, for data, for insights, for anything that we can get our hands on that helps us understand how players play this game.
Recently, we've taken onto a process where I've been playtesting, and then kind of like a YouTube streamer, I record my playtests. So basically I could be like, hey, check out my stream, and then the designer who owned that level just watched me play. I'm talking out loud, oh, that was really funny. Oh my God, this is so frustrating. Like, why is it working that way? Or like, holy crap, plus 70% evasion? That's nonsense, we gotta tamp that down. You are trying to have fun with this game, so you want to be having fun while you playtest, and then you want to be super vigilant of those moments where that fun gets sucked out of the room for whatever reason that is.
The more time we get to iterate, the better the product's gonna be. It's always the case. We play for 4 or 5 hours every day, and I'm going through the game sentence by sentence, combat by combat, and questioning every single thing that goes on, every visual effect. When do songs kick on? Does that combat feel right? Is that too hard? Did I work too hard to get a piece of loot that is not that great? That's really gonna make me upset, right? And so you have to take in the totality of the experience and say, how is it making me feel? And then you gotta go through and make all those changes and then do it again.
It's not like we were building a new genre and we weren't sure if this genre would work. We're not making Katamari Damacy, you know what I mean? We were building a turn-based strategy game, and we know the genre really well, so we know that can be fun, it's just a matter of execution.
You know, if you think about it, about the length of these games, so this game's maybe 50 or 60 hours. What is that, every Star Wars film ever made end to end? There's more information than any one human could know inside of these products. So you gotta wrangle this big beast and make sure it comes in tight.
We build big games and we build complicated games, and we could make our lives a heck of a lot easier if we would just narrow the scope of what we would do or make different decisions along the way. But we love these games, and our fans love these games. Interacting with the community and interacting with the fans through builds that we give out to them or through forums where we get input from backers, that has helped us distill down what we want to preserve and protect and is non-negotiable about the franchise, and then also look forward to the areas where we think we can really innovate more in.